Welcome back to the session. Let's see a few more theorems on a prime ideal. Let R be an integral domain with ideal P, then P is a prime ideal if and only if R by P is an integral domain. See here they have given R is integral domain with ideal is P, means R as ideal. Okay, that ideal is P. If P is a prime ideal, then we have to prove that R by P is an integral domain. See here they have mentioned if and only if you have to prove necessary and sufficient condition. In first part you consider P is a prime ideal, then you prove that R by P is an integral domain. Okay, R by P is an integral domain means we have to prove that R by P is commutative ring with unity and without zero divisors condition. Again you consider R by P is a integral domain, then you prove that P is a prime ideal. See first part, that is P is a prime ideal of R. Then we have to verify that R by P is an integral domain. Here they have given R is an integral domain with ideal P. Therefore, see integral domain definition is R is commutative ring with unity. Because R is integral domain, if R is integral domain means R is a commutative ring with unity and without zero divisors condition. In that you consider commutative ring with unity condition being an integral domain. Now R is a commutative ring with unity being an integral domain means R by P is also commutative ring with unity. Then remaining we have to verify without zero divisors condition, that is A is equals to 0, B is equals to 0, AB equal to 0. Or instead of this we can also prove in one more condition, A is not equal to AB is not equal to 0, A is not equal to 0, B is not equal to 0. Okay, these two are without zero divisors condition. But you consider AB belongs to R. AB belongs to R means see R by P is of the form quotient ring. In quotient ring means R by U ali elements is of the form U plus A form. Here instead of U P is there, here elements is of the form P plus A. Okay, A comma B belongs to R, then P plus A, P plus B. These two belongs to R by P set. It is equal to P. Here P is the zero element of R by P. Because we have to verify without zero divisors condition. Without zero divisors condition is AB equal to 0. Either A is equals to 0 or B is equals to 0. See, AB is an element in R, but we have to prove that without zero conditions for R by P. See, R by P elements are formula is the P plus A. That is, AB in place of AB, you have to consider P plus A, P plus B. P plus B equal to 0. See, in the zero element of R by P is of the form P plus 0 formula. The P plus 0 we can write P, that is P plus A into P plus B is equals to P, where P is the zero element of R by P. See, by the definition of quotient ring P plus A, P plus B, we can write P plus of AB is equals to P. See, if HA is equals to H means A is belongs to H condition, same as it is here. P plus AB is equals to P means AB is belongs to P. See, since P is a prime ideal, by the definition of prime ideal, AB belongs to P means A belongs to P or B belongs to P. See, A belongs to P means P plus AB is equals to P means AB belongs to P. Same as it is. Now A belongs to P means this we can write P plus A is equals to P. That is A belongs to P means P plus A is equals to P. Or B belongs to P means P plus B is equals to P. Therefore P plus A and P plus B are non-zero divisors. P plus A into P plus B is equals to P. This is of the form AB is equals to 0. Therefore, A is equals to 0, B is equals to 0 form ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. Therefore, P plus A and P plus B are non-zero divisors. Therefore, R by P has non-zero divisors. Therefore, R by P is commutative ring with unity and with non-zero divisors. Therefore, R by P is an integral domain. Next, you consider conversely, R by P is an integral domain. Then we have to prove that P is a prime ideal. Choose AB belongs to P for some A comma B belongs to P. If P plus A is equals to P means A is belongs to P. If P plus AB is equals to P means AB belongs to P. See here I have considered AB belongs to P. See if AB belongs to P means P plus AB is equals to P. That is P plus AB is equals to P. By definition of quotient ring P plus AB we can write P plus A into P plus B is equals to P. This implies P plus A is equals to P or P plus B is equals to P. If P plus A is equals to P means A is belongs to P. P plus B is equals to P means B is belongs to P. Therefore, AB belongs to P implies A belongs to P or B belongs to P. Therefore, P is a prime ideal. Hence the proof. In view of above theorem is if R by P is an integral domain, P is prime ideal. If P is a prime ideal means R by P is an integral domain. This first one is every maximal ideal is a commutative ring with unity is a principal ideal. See here you have to consider maximal ideal with commutative ring. Maximal ideal you consider as M. M is a maximal ideal with commutative ring with unity. We have to prove that M is a prime ideal by using above theorem. Here M is a maximal ideal in commutative ring R with unity, then M is a maximal ideal in integral domain because there exists R by M. M is a ideal, maximal ideal in the commutative ring with unity R. Therefore, there exists a quotient ring. Quotient ring is R by M. This quotient ring is field. That is R by M is field. R by M is field means R by M is an ideal ring. R by M is ideal ring means here M is called as prime ideal because by above theorem R by P is a field means P is prime ideal. In place of P here M is there. Therefore M is an ideal ring. Therefore R by M is an ideal ring. Therefore M is a prime ideal. Next one, if R is a finite commutative ring, we have to prove that every prime ideal of R is a maximal ideal. Here R is a finite commutative ring. We prove that every prime ideal of R is maximal ideal. Here you consider P is a prime ideal of R. This implies R by P is an integral domain. By above theorems, by above theorem P is a prime ideal means R by P is field. Here P is a prime ideal means there exists integral domain is R by P. Therefore R by P is an integral domain means R by P is also field because every integral domain is a field. Therefore R by P is a field means P is maximal ideal by theorem 1. Hence the solution. The theorem, in a commutative ring with unity A, maximal ideal is always prime ideal. See here you consider R be a commutative ring with unity. Commutative ring with unity has maximal ideal. That maximal ideal you consider as M. Then we have to prove that maximal ideal is a prime ideal. Means here we have to prove that M is a prime ideal. M is a prime ideal means we have to prove that AB belongs to M implies A belongs to M or B belongs to M. This is definition of prime ideal. Therefore here we have to prove that M is prime ideal. To prove M is prime ideal, we have to prove that AB belongs to M implies A belongs to M or B belongs to M. Now let's see proof. Let AB belongs to M for A comma B belongs to R. Okay, we claim that A belongs to M or B belongs to M. Suppose A is not belongs to M. Now consider ideal. maximal ideal definition is M is a maximal ideal means there exists one more ideal U. M is subset of U, U is subset of R. This implies M is equals to U or U is equals to R. Now see here M is maximal ideal. Now you consider definition of maximal ideal. To consider definition of maximal ideal we require one more ideal. That ideal you consider as generated by A plus M. Generated by A plus M is equals to, if we remove this generated element, we will get Ax plus M for all M belongs to capital M. Of R satisfying condition, M is subset of U, U is subset of R. Here U means generated by A plus M, subset of R. Here M is equals to U, here M is equals to generated of A plus M. R U is equals to R condition is generated of A plus M is equals to R. Clearly generated by A plus M is not equal to M, because here I have considered A is not belongs to M, but A is belongs to generated by A plus M, because generated by A plus M is of the form Ax plus M formula. Here it contains A element means A belongs to generated by A plus M, but A is not belongs to M, therefore generated by A plus M is not equal to M. Hence generated by A plus M is equals to R. If generated by A plus M is equals to R means R is a commutative ring with unity. Unity element is with respect to multiplication 1, therefore 1 belongs to R. See, 1 belongs to R means R is equals to generated by A plus M, therefore 1 is also belongs to generated by A plus M. Therefore 1 belongs to this condition means generated by A plus M elements we can write Ax plus M means 1 belongs to this set means 1 is of the form Ax plus M for all M belongs to capital M. Multiply both the sides by B for this equation. B into 1 is B, B into X is Bax plus B into M is Bm. Multiply this entire equation by M. Now B is equals to Bax plus Bm. Bax we can write AB into X, Bm we can write MB, because R is a commutative ring means Ba we can write AB, Bm we can write MB. It is belongs to capital M. This implies, see, A plus B belongs to capital M means A belongs to M, B belongs to M. This implies AB X belongs to M, MB is also belongs to M. Here you consider ABX belongs to M. ABX belongs to M means AB belongs to M, X is belongs to M. AB belongs to M means either A belongs to M or B belongs to M. This is of the form definition of prime ideal, therefore M is a prime ideal. Next, let F is equals to gamma from 0, 1 to R is to gamma is constant. Define pi from F to R by pi of gamma is equals to gamma of 1 by 2, which is a homomorphism means this function, given function is homomorphism and its kernel is M. Then we have to show that it is a prime ideal. It is a prime ideal means we have to prove that M is a prime ideal. Kernel of pi is M. M is equals to, by definition of kernel of pi is X belongs to R. Pi of X is equals to 0 dash, or in place of 0 dash we can also consider E dash, identity element in R dash. Here M is equals to gamma belongs to F. Pi of gamma is equals to 0. Pi of gamma we can write gamma of 1 by 2 equal to 0. Now we have to prove that M is prime ideal. To prove M is prime ideal, you consider two elements, that is for all gamma 1, gamma 2 belongs to M, implies gamma 1, gamma 2 of 1 by 2 is equals to 0 by this condition. See, gamma 1 of gamma 2 of 1 by 2 is equals to 0 means this we can write gamma 1 of 1 by 2, gamma 2 of 1 by 2 is equals to 0. See, AB is equals to 0 means either A is equals to 0 or B is equals to 0. This implies gamma 1 of 1 by 2 is equals to 0 or gamma 2 of 1 by 2 is equals to 0. Gamma 1 of 1 by 2 is equals to 0 by definition of kernel. Gamma of 1 by 2 is equals to 0 means gamma belongs to M. Therefore, here gamma 1 belongs to M. Same as it is, gamma 2 of 1 by 2 is equals to 0 means by definition of kernel, gamma 2 belongs to M. Therefore, gamma 1, gamma 2 belongs to M implies gamma 1 belongs to M or gamma 2 belongs to M. Therefore, M is prime ideal. Next topic, embedding rings. A ring R is said to be embedded into ring R dash if there is an isomorphism of R into R dash. That is, R is isomorphic to R dash. Here, R and R dash be two rings. If it is said to be embedded ring means R is isomorphic to R dash. Suppose R is embedded into R dash. If R is isomorphic to S means where S is subset of R dash. Further, R and R dash have unit elements is 1 and 1 dash. Identity element of R is 1, identity element of R dash is 1 dash. See here definition, field of quotients of an integral domain are quotient field. Let D be an integral domain, then D can be embedded into a field. Can be embedded into a field means D is isomorphic to F. Then field F is equals to A comma B. For all A comma B belongs to D, B is not equal to 0. B the set of equivalence classes. Equivalence classes is A comma B. Under the equivalence relation is this is a symbol given by A comma B is equivalence to C comma D. If AD is equals to BC, then becomes a field. This field is called as quotient field or field of quotients of an integral domain. Here D be the integral domain and F be the field, that is embedded into a field. D is embedded into a field F, that F is A comma B. Here B is not equal to 0. Then consider two classes, that is A comma B and C comma D. Both are equivalence with the symbol this. Then AD is equals to BC, it becomes a field, means AD is equals to BC becomes a field. Then this field is called as quotient field or quotient field of an integral domain. Let's see theorem on it. If K is an any field containing an integral domain D, then K contains a subfield isomorphic. K contains subfield isomorphic to a quotient field F of D or quotient field is the smallest field containing D. See here we have to prove that K containing a subfield. Okay, it is isomorphic to a quotient field F. Okay, here for K you consider subfield is K dash. This K dash is isomorphic to F anta prove ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, because here they have given K is any field containing an integral domain, means K contains D. Then you consider one more subfield for this D. Okay, the subfield for this D is K dash. Then we have to prove that that subfield is isomorphic to a quotient field. Subfield is K dash. K dash is isomorphic to F. K dash is isomorphic to F means you have to prove that for K dash one-to-one function, onto function and homomorphism. Let's see proof. Let D be an integral domain and K be field containing D. For any A comma B belongs to D, B is not equal to 0. This is by definition of quotient field. If B is not equal to 0 means it is a non-zero element. It is a non-zero element means there exists B inverse such that A into B inverse belongs to K, because K is a field. Okay. See, therefore K dash you consider subfield for K, that is K dash. K dash be the subfield of K. See, k dash is a subfield of k, means k dash is of the form a into b inverse belongs to k, a comma b belongs to d, b is not equal to 0. This is k dash is subset of k. Now we have to verify k dash is subfield of k. To verify k dash is subfield of k, you have to consider subring condition. See, if S is a subring of R means there exists two conditions, that is A minus B belongs to S and A into B belongs to S. Same as it is, to verify k dash is a subfield of k means here you have to verify A minus B belongs to k dash and A into B belongs to k dash. See, k dash elements we already considered. K dash elements is of the form A into B inverse, means here we have to prove that A into B dash, A into B inverse minus C into D inverse belongs to K dash, that is A minus B condition. For A into B condition is A into B inverse into C into D inverse belongs to K dash. These two conditions we have to verify. Okay. For that you consider A into B inverse, C into D inverse belongs to K dash. First condition is A minus B condition, that is A into B inverse minus C into D inverse is equals to A we can write by identity law A into E. This A we can write A into E. C we can write C into E by identity law. See, A into E by inverse law again we can write E is D into D inverse. This E is B into B inverse because A into A inverse value is E. Here E I am writing D into D inverse. Here E is B into B inverse. In this entire equation, D inverse into B inverse is common. Remaining AD minus CB, D inverse into B inverse. D inverse into B inverse we can write BD whole inverse because AB whole inverse value is B inverse into A inverse. Same as it is here, B inverse into D inverse we can write BD whole inverse. See, this is of the form A into B inverse formula, that is belongs to K dash. RHS belongs to K dash means LHS belongs to K dash, that is A into B inverse minus C into D inverse belongs to K dash. Second condition, that is A into B inverse C into D inverse is equals to this A and C you take it as it is, remaining B inverse and D inverse you make it one group. B inverse into D inverse we can write DB whole inverse. See, again this is of the form A into B inverse. A into B inverse means it is belongs to K dash. Therefore, A into B inverse into CD inverse belongs to K dash. Therefore, both the conditions are verified. Then here I have considered it is n of K dash is subring of K containing unity becomes other properties of field followed from K. Here we have to verify unity condition. To verify unity condition, you consider A is not equal to 0 in D. We have A into A inverse belongs to, because A is not equal to 0 means every non-zero element exists its own inverse, that is A inverse exists आते, that is A into A inverse belongs to K dash. A into A inverse value is 1 by inverse law, 1 belongs to K dash. Therefore, 1 is identity element in K dash. Therefore, K dash is a subring of K containing unity. Therefore, K dash is a subfield of K. See, to verify K dash is subfield of K, you have to prove that subring condition. Subring conditions is A minus B condition, A into B condition. Including this, you have to verify unity condition. If you verify these three conditions, then K dash is subfield of K. Now, subfield condition verified. But actually, we have to prove that subfield of K is isomorphic to F. Subfield of K is K dash. K dash is isomorphic to F. Okay, that is isomorphic to F means homomorphism conditions 1 to 1 on 2 condition. For that you consider F. F is equals to A comma B. For all A comma B belongs to D, B is not equal to 0. Be the quotient field of D. Now define a function pi from F to K dash, because we have to prove that K dash is isomorphic to F. For that you consider function F to K dash by F elements is of the form classes equivalence class formula, that is a comma b. Then k dash l elements is of the form a into b inverse, that is pi of a comma b is equals to a into b inverse. Now to verify homomorphism condition, you consider two elements in the form of a comma b, that is a comma b, c comma d belongs to f. Pi of a comma b plus c comma d, this a comma b plus c comma d we can write classes a d plus bc comma bd. This we can write ad plus bc comma bd. If you apply pi of a comma b condition, pi of a comma b means a into b inverse. Here a means ad plus bc, b means bd, that is ad plus bc into bd inverse. B into d inverse we can write d inverse into b inverse. Multiply now, ad into d inverse b inverse plus bc into d inverse b inverse. Here d into d inverse and b into b inverse value is e. D into d inverse, b into b inverse value is e, remaining a into b inverse plus c into d inverse. A into b inverse we can write pi of a comma b, c into d inverse we can write pi of c comma d. This is one of condition of homomorphism. Next one, pi of a comma b comma c comma d is equals to pi of this a comma b into c comma d we can write ac comma bd, that is ac comma bd. See, apply condition, pi of a comma b means pi of a comma b means a into b inverse. Here a means ac as it is, b means bd inverse. Bd inverse we can write d inverse into b inverse. A and D inverse you make it one group, A and B inverse you make it one group, C and D inverse is one group. A into B inverse we can write pi of A comma B, C into D inverse we can write pi of C comma D. Therefore, both the conditions of homomorphism satisfied. Therefore, pi is homomorphism. Therefore, pi is homomorphism. Next condition is one-to-one condition. Pi of A comma B is equals to pi of C comma D. Pi of a comma b we can write ab inverse is equals to pi of c comma d we can write cd inverse. This d inverse shift into LHS, b inverse shift into RHS, will get ad is equals to cb. By definition of quotient field, ab is equivalent to cd means we can write ad is equals to BC. This is AD is equals to BC. We can write A comma B is equivalence to CD. Equivalence to CD means A comma B is equals to C comma D. Therefore, pi is 1 to 1. Next, onto condition. For any AB inverse belongs to K dash, we have A comma B belongs to D. B is not equal to 0. A comma B belongs to F such that pi of AB is equals to AB inverse. Therefore, pi is onto. Pi is homomorphism 1 to 1 and onto. Therefore, pi is isomorphism from F to K dash. Therefore, F is isomorphic to K dash or K dash is isomorphic to F. Hence the proof. Next, corollary on that theorem. The quotient field of a finite integral domain coincide with itself. See, that meaning is here you consider quotient field of a finite integral domain. Quotient field F of integral domain is D is coincide with itself means it is isomorphic to itself. That is F is equals to D only. If D is the finite integral domain and finite integral domain, then it is the smallest field containing D, but quotient field is F. It is the smallest field containing D. By above theorem, D is equals to F. Hence the solution. Next one, corollary to any two isomorphic integral domain have isomorphic quotient field. Here you have to consider two integral domains. Okay, that is D and D dash. Be two integral domains are isomorphic to quotient field. That quotient field, see, for D integral domain means for this quotient field F, here we are considered two integral domains D dash K. You consider quotient field is F dash. Here we have to prove that F is isomorphic to F dash. Let D and D dash be two isomorphic integral domain under the isomorphism pi from D to D dash. Suppose f and f dash are quotient fields of d and d dash respectively. F we can write by definition of quotient field class A comma B. A comma B belongs to D. B is not equal to 0. See, f is A comma B means f dash is pi of A and pi of B. Pi of A and pi of B belongs to D dash. Pi of B is not equal to 0 because A belongs to D means pi is a function from D to D dash. Then pi of A belongs to D dash. This AB belongs to D means its images belongs to D dash. That images are pi of A and pi of B. Or pi of A and pi of B we can also consider A dash B dash, that is A dash comma B dash. A dash B dash belongs to D dash. B dash is not equal to 0. See, we already proved by theorem K dash is isomorphic to F dash. By above theorem and this corollary, directly we can take F is isomorphic to F dash. Hence the proof. This theorem completes the unit 6. In